Now, it's been a while since we did one of these videos. It's Throwback Thursday. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs. But I'm not riding solo on this video. You can't see him, but my dog is in my lap, Mikey. Guys, and today, it's been a while since we've done this, so today we are going to be doing another Throwback Thursday. And what do we do on Throwback Thursday? That's where we sit back and reminisce about something from our childhood or something just cool or awesome as we were growing up back in the day. And today, since it's also Smash Week still and we're trying to do our best to uphold our end of the bargain, even though it hasn't quite gone as well as planned, due to a loss of a loved one in my family, so I just haven't had the time to put forth the effort, but this is me contributing because the guys are holding it down for me. And guys, so today we are talking about Captain N and the Game Master.
Welcome to Videoland.
Mega High! Wake up, Kid Icarus!
Welcome to Castlevania.
It's Congo Land!
Mother Brain will get you, little princess.
Princess, the palace is under siege!
Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Kevin, I thought I told you to clean up your room. Whoa!
Captain N, the Game Master.
Now, some of you may be scratching your head like, what the heck is Captain N and the Game Master? I was like, well, that's simple, guys. It is a cartoon that had 4 seasons that aired from I believe it was September 89 to about 91 October-ish. So October 1991, so about 4 seasons. And it starred Kevin and his dog Duke, who are sucked into a time warp, if you will, a portal through their TV while they were playing the old school classic NES. And they get teleported to Videoland, which is a generic hub, if you will, that connects all the different video games of the Nintendo brand, if you will. Some generic and some actual Nintendo brand names, if you will. And alongside Kevin was his love interest, Princess Lana, who is a very generic princess, if you will. And I don't mean it in a bad way. She's just the stereotype princess, but she's actually pretty badass. She actually knows how to fight and uphold her own, if you will. And it also stars Simon Belmont, but not the Simon Belmont that you actually know. He is a suntanned, crazy love hound, if you will, and he's really played for comic relief, which when I was a kid I didn't like, but now I kind of understand you kind of need that, and it's whatever. I mean, it doesn't change the fact how awesome Castlevania and Simon and the Belmont clan has been throughout the years. But yeah, Simon is kind of a doof in this particular game. Very rarely does he actually pull his own weight, if you will. He's always trying to get out of work or chores or things like that. We also have the Green Bomber himself, Mega Man. And yes, I said the Green Bomber because for some reason they changed his color scheme. And part of me thinks it's because a lot of the backgrounds had a lot of blue tint to it. And he just may not have shown up very well in animation. But yeah, so they put him in a green suit essentially. And he's got this, he kind of actually looks like a pop figure, if you will. The dimensions of a pop figure with the bigger head, smaller torso. That's kind of what he looked like. And you also had Kid Icarus. And let me take a step back. And with Mega Man, I think he may have been the inspiration on how the Pokemon talk, to be honest with you. Kid Icarus a little bit too. But Mega Man would say the words Mega almost in front of every single thing he said. So he'd like, I'll teach this Mega Lizard. He's like, or he'll be like, "That's a mega castle," or he's like, "My mega buster," or everything he said, he's like, "That's mega awesome," or "Mega Kevin, great job," and it was always things like mega in front of it, and it could get a little annoying, but you kind of always knew what you were getting with him at least.
Power my mega buddy, my mega sensors in all mega diversion. Mega stronger than a mega warp. Have enough mega power to mega move it. A mega monstrous castle. Oh, I'll show this mega lizard how kind of mega magic. Wow, that was mega fun. Wow, that was mega fun.
And he wasn't too bad of a character. He held his own again within the confines of the show. Then you had Kid Icarus, who at the end of everything he said, he ended with a version or a take on Icarus.
My arrows will stop that Apicus Maximus. Let me go, Icarus!
1, 2.
That was a real cool move, Cavinicus. Hey, thanks, Cavinicus. You're a pretty good game master after all.
Almost like a pig Latin, if you will. Everything at the end of it had Icarus in it. And it was just kind of comical as well. Now, in later seasons, we got the likes of Game Boy, who was really cool, rad, could do a lot of different things, was really OP in a lot of different ways, and helped out the team, doing many different things. He was supposed to be the princess's protector, but we're really not going to focus too much on him, and we're just going to talk about the show in general. Now, Kevin, his real name is Kevin Keene, and he was playing Nintendo. And in the opening credits, we kind of see his mom's yelling at him, "Clean your room," and he gets sucked into his TV, and he's dubbed the Game Master, essentially. So, what makes this show really great, in my opinion, is that it would look, especially looking back, it's really ahead of the curve. Now, some of the inconsistencies in animation and the designs of the actual characters, if you will, is really because Nintendo was okay with the show, but didn't necessarily release all the information or allow the artists, if you will, to actually see what the game was like or give them the time to do so. So they had to come up with their own interpretations based off of writing, essentially, saying, yeah, they kind of look like this, or yeah, they're like this. So they had to make their own do with, if you will. Now, you do get some really good spot-on characterizations like King Hippo, who is absolutely looks pitch perfect, if you will. Everything you remember from King Hippo from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, he's one of the main cronies, if you will, of Mother Brain, who is the main villain. Spot on, to be honest with you. And then you also have the Eggplant Wizard, and he's spot on from the Icarus games. And then you have Mother Brain, who is not necessarily what you see when you play Metroid, if you will. But I really do like the character. She had a lot of personality. She essentially sounded like a loud, African-American woman. Unfortunately, with a white face, though, unfortunately. So I guess you could say it's a, white facing. I don't know. I could see it getting a lot of heat nowadays. But back then, it wasn't as big of a deal, if you will. And honestly, she had a lot of personality. She's probably the person I like, or the character I like the most in the show, just because of how outlandish she is. And she speaks actually a lot like, if you've ever seen Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis, she sounds just like Audrey 2, if you will. Sounds just like her, the man-eating plant, if you will. Kind of sounds exactly the way she sings and everything like that. I would say, I would almost beg to differ to say it's the same person that voices it. I don't know that for sure, but if I was a betting man, I would bet on that. And occasionally you would also get like Dr. Wily as a main villain or a crony, and he was spot on from taken out of Mega Man, if you will. And to talk about Mega Man, I wonder why they went with the green suit instead of at least going to the box art of the original film or the original game, which was that yellow and blue suit. But again, it could just have been that blue. I don't know. But anyway, guys, this show was so ahead of its time looking back on it, is that it really did show games in a positive light. And especially back in the 80s and early 90s, you were really quick to be forced into a box, Honestly, like if you were into comic books, you were a comic you were a comic nerd or geek, you were placed in this stereotypical box, and people didn't want to associate with you unless they liked those same type of things. If you were a jock in school, and still through Hollywood, you get a lot of that. If you're a jock, you're labeled as this dumb jock that can't do anything right. Okay, or is not smart enough to pass a test. If you're a pretty girl, you're a stuck-up snob. If you're into fashion, ooh, boys, you're constantly shown in that light. And this show did a lot to kind of break that mold, to be honest with you, because we learn through different episodes. One in particular, where some students from Kevin's school end up in Videoland as well, and we get to learn a little bit about Kevin's backstory, and he's shown actually being smart enough to tutor a one of the head cheerleaders, even though he was trying to get with her. Asked her out on a date, and that's kind of why he was doing it, but he was smart enough to get her to pass that test. He's also shown with a Letterman jacket throughout the entire season, or throughout the entire show, and he actually got that Letterman jacket because he was the captain of the varsity swim team. And swimming, you might say, oh, that's not a real sport. Let me tell you, go swimming and try to do it professionally, or just try to do it long term, man. It is a tiring sport. It works almost every muscle in your body. Probably no better workout, to be honest with you. And then you also kind of see that he was kind to the nerds, okay, and he was friends with the jocks. So you get this all-around character who, today's standard, is you, me, and all of us here in the universe. We like all of these things, and we're not afraid to show. We're not chastised for it. And he was that allegory character 20, at least 30 years before it became cool to be. And it's kind of cool when I sit back and I look at it. Now, if you haven't watched this show and you do want to go back and try and watch it, I think you can find almost every episode on YouTube. But I urge you to watch it with an understanding that it was made for a different time. Now, it's not black and white or boring by any stretch of the matter. It's just games were a lot different then. Cartoons were a lot different then. A lot of episodes have messages of positivity. A lot of the times these cartoons were made to sell merch in terms of toys and video games and things like that, and this is no different. But there is something special about it. You see the innocence in it, and them actually trying to make an effort to give kids more options in games and more characters and more different lands and things like that, and they just weren't given enough information to present it properly, but they still gave forth a great effort for the children watching this show. And I kind of admire them for that, and I'm very grateful for watching this show. And actually, I would love to see Captain N as an actual Smash character, because we still have 6 more characters we don't know about that are DLC. I think it would be totally awesome, and unfortunately, they've already been designed. They've already told us that, so they've asked us not to keep asking for characters on their Twitter or anything like that. Nintendo has. So it is kind of cool that they've already got it set in stone. They've already picked their characters. But unfortunately, that means we probably won't get Kevin the Game Master. But if we ever do get another Smash game, or if it is absolutely possible, Nintendo, please make Captain N an actual character to play with in the game. That would be so freaking rad. Now let's talk about Kevin a little bit more. Now, again, if you've never seen this show, Kevin had some special, unique abilities. He actually, when he teleported within to the Videoland, he was given a belt, a special belt, with the buckle itself was actually this Nintendo controller, the old NES Nintendo controller. And what was really cool is by pushing the start button, he would be able to pause time around him for a short period of time. Now, unfortunately, you can't see it on this hat, but there would be these green lights on his actual belt buckle, and they indicated how much power the belt buckle had and how many seconds he would have until the pause menu would want to unpause, essentially, so he'd have to get through what he was doing quickly. If he pushed the B button really fast, if he held it down, he could run really fast, or if he held A, he could double jump and jump really high, and he could kind of like teleport quickly with the D-pad if he was being in an attack. But he also had the Nintendo Duck Hunt shooter, if you will, the gun zapper, and he would blast things with it, and they would dematerialize because they couldn't say the word kill, if you will, back then in a cartoon. So it was really cool because he was a quick draw on that, and it was really awesome to see that gun. And occasionally he would even have the power glove, and then of course, like I said, he would eventually get to partner with a Game Boy, who was an actual, I would say about 4 foot tall Game Boy, whose digital face screen would change to different things, and he had different type of powers and abilities, and he could fly and be used as like a skateboard and things like that, hoverboard, I should say. So the show was really innovative in that regard, and it really made you a fan of Nintendo. Like, you thought you were Captain N when you were playing these Nintendo games because how awesome that cartoon actually was. Again, going back, some of the dialogue's a little cheesy, and some of the art, the inconsistencies can kind of get to you. But if you can look past all of that, I promise you'll find something kind of special in this cartoon, guys. So in the comments below, let me know, guys, have you seen Captain N and the Game Master? Have you ever known or who he was? If you haven't, do you plan on checking him out? And guys, do you think also that we could have an updated version, let's say, giving him more of the equipment Nintendo has given us over the years, like the Wii remote that would be kind of like a nunchuck? Wouldn't it be kind of cool to kind of see some of that, or the touchpad for the Wii U or the Nintendo Switch, being able to just kind of go have a digital touchpad and then just take it on the go, and he could play games anywhere? I think it'd be kind of cool to see some of that for today's audience, if you will. Anyway, I'm done rambling, guys. This has been Throwback Thursday. Let us know in the comments below again if you've ever watched the show. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you hate about it? What do you like about it, guys? And don't forget to Nintendo zap that like button like you mean it, like a boss. Just zap it right away. Let us know we're doing a good job. And guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to be a part of the Power Squad, if you will, the Nintendo Power Squad. And next time, guys, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.